Hi, my name is Tiva, a third year nursing student at the University of Calgary. For me, leadership plays a critical role in ensuring safe and effective patient care, especially in the complex clinical environments. At the start of this term, I completed Brené Brown's leadership assessment, which helped me reflect on my personal leadership strengths and areas for growth. Through this assessment, I identified that grumbling with vulnerability was one of my main areas for development, as I often felt uncomfortable in situations involving uncertainty or when I needed to speak up. So, for my SMART goal, I focused on engaging in open, honest communication and clarifying situation during periods of uncertainty in both my clinicals and 495 group settings over the 12-week term. My goal is to do this at least once per week and document in my anecdotal notes. I would know that I had achieved this goal when I felt confident speaking up, experienced less hesitations, and engaged more openly in challenging conversations. Through 16 hours of clinical each week, feedback from my peers and instructors, I determined that this goal was attainable. In this self-appraisal, I will discuss all these parameters I used with examples and insights into achieving my nursing leadership goal. To work towards the goal, I used a few simple strategies. I focused on critical thinking before taking action, which helped me avoid making errors and assumptions. I also prepared for clinical situations by giving patient report to my instructor at the start of the shift, manually verifying medications, and asking why question at every step of the patient care. Another strategy I used was taking a deep breath and mentally rehearsing how I would speak in difficult situations, which helped me communicate more clearly and professionally. I also made it a habit to reflect on my experiences after each shift, which helped me recognize my progress and areas for improvement. To stay accountable, I shared my SMART goal with my instructor and peers. In my 495 group, I actively participated in discussions and took initiative in situations where I initially lacked confidence. For example, during the group project, when a member missed her assigned task, I addressed the situation and helped redistribute responsibility so the team could stay on track. This required me to speak up in an uncomfortable situation and demonstrated my progress and vulnerability. One instance that clearly demonstrated my progress toward the SMART goal when my primary nurse told me to give IV med to the patient in bed 1. So I prepared everything and went to bed 1. Just before scanning and connecting my IV med, I paused to check the patient's wristband and noticed that the patient name did not match the medication I had prepared. So I immediately stopped and assessed the situation. This demonstrated my ability to apply strategies such as pause and think and to verify information rather than relying on assumption, even if it's come from my primary nurse. My instructor's feedback on this incident supported this, as I was recognized for being mindful and prioritizing patient safety over rushing to complete the task. Another experience was during the disagreement with my buddy nurse. When my patient was desaturating, I gave supplemental oxygen, as it's the first step for patient safety. But my buddy nurse disagreed and raised the issue openly and loudly on the floor. Although I felt uncomfortable, I trusted my knowledge and respectfully communicated my clinical reasoning. Instead of elevating the situation, I stayed calm and suggested buddy nurse to further clarify the whole incident with my instructor together. Later, I received the feedback from my instructor that I handled the situation very professionally, which further strengthened my confidence. In my weekly anecdotal notes, I consistently documented situations in which I spoke up, prioritized patient safety, and engaged in challenging conversations, demonstrating that I met my SMART goal. It reflected my growth in vulnerability, trusting my knowledge, and holding myself accountable for the action during the time of uncertainty when I feel less confident. One key insight I gained is that vulnerability in nursing leadership involves being confident in what you know while also being willing to question, seek clarification, and speak up in an unfamiliar or challenging situation. These experiences align with the LEADS framework, especially the developed self-domain, through my growth of self-awareness and self-management, as I recognize my tendency to hesitate in difficult situations and work to actively address it by speaking up and thinking critically. Nursing leadership closely aligns with a complex adaptive system in which multiple healthcare professionals, patients, and environmental factors plays role in patient care. Nurses must adapt to this changing situation while maintaining effective communication and prioritizing patient safety. Through my experiences, I saw how individual actions can improve the quality of care, such as verifying patient information prevented a potential error and professionally speaking up during a disagreement supported a clear communication within the team. These small actions impact patient outcomes and team dynamics, highlighting the importance of adaptability and collaboration in nursing practice. In conclusion, I met my SMART goal by consistently practicing vulnerability through open and honest communication, asking questions, clarifying information, and engaging in challenging situations. However, I recognize that nursing leadership is an ongoing process. Based on feedback from my instructor and my own reflection, I perceive that I still need to further improve my confidence in high-pressure situations and when the situation is uncertain. Moving forward, I will continue to challenge myself, seek feedback, and applying skills to further develop as a nursing leader who prioritizes safe, collaborative, and patient-centered care.